Y'all know I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game, and it's free. Click the link down there, you got it.
DreAllDay.com.
What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. We are here for the second installment of this 5-part series, the most controversial series in all of the internet. Top 5 players at every position in the NBA going into 2017. We're at the shooting guard position. I think the toughest position to go over, honestly, and this is the point guard's position. So each one of these, I think, is going to get progressively easier. Actually, I think the next one, the small forward, is going to be a good conversation because there are some, and again, I'm doing this based on, before I even get into this, based on the positions given by ESPN.com and their fantasy basketball rankings. So whatever is the number one position they put each player at, that's what I'm using them as. For instance, they have Steph Curry as point guard and shooting guard. LeBron James is small forward and power forward. Hassan Whiteside is power forward and center. But whatever's the first position they put them as, that's what I'm using them as. So they got Steph Curry as point guard first, shooting guard second. So I put him in the point guards. They got a guy like James Harden as shooting guard first, point guard second. So I'm putting him in the shooting guards. Whatever category they have as primary, that's what I'm going off of. So no arguments about what position somebody else plays. It doesn't even matter, honestly. It doesn't matter really, period. They just use it for fantasy purposes. So that's the only reason I'm using it this way, so we can get 5 videos out of this to talk about. Make sure we touch on every player. So let's get right into it, shall we? Shooting guard position, top 5 players. Number 1 at the shooting guard position has to be James Harden. The Beard is the number 1 shooting guard in the NBA. Guy averaged 30 points a game last year, dominated the ball for Houston. The whole offense ran through him. He's pretty much going to be the point guard this upcoming season. I mean, skill-wise, offensively, he can pretty much do anything. He can score on anybody. He got the handle. He can dribble that thing. He can cross you over. He had to step back on you. He can draw the foul. He can dunk on you. He averaged 30 points a game. He led the league in scoring. So, I mean, I think we already know he can do his thing offensively. I think James Harden can average 9-10 assists per game this year. Rebounding-wise, I see him around the 6 or 7 range, but he's going to have some really good stats. And a lot of us have talked about Russell Westbrook having great stats this year. James Harden is another dude we need to watch because he's going to have the ball in his hands even more this year. And I think they got a few more weapons around him. They gave him Eric Gordon, who's a good outside shooter. And I think they picked up, who's the guy who played in New Orleans? What the hell was his name? I'm going to think of him in 1 second. The white guy who's a shooter. I can't think of his name right now, but if I don't think of it before the end of this video, leave it in the comments. But that guy, they picked him up, and he can shoot. And they already have some shooters. They got Trevor Ariza. They got, who's the other guy? Corey Brewer. So they got some shooters on that team. They got Monte Eunice and some other people. I don't even think they re-signed Monte Eunice yet, but I think James Harden got a chance to put up even better stats than Russ this year, honestly. Now, they got to win some games. James Harden, first of all, has to, let's talk about his defense first. His defense ain't great. His defense is good, but he wants to play defense. Not that James Harden can't play defense, that he's just uninterested. He's been uninterested on D. But when you're asking that much of a guy on offense, there's only so much you can expect also on D. Now, I know there are the people out there, the armchair pundits who are like, well, hey, he can play just as hard. Michael Jordan did it. LeBron James did it. Listen, it's much easier to talk about than it is to do. Trust me. But I think he can give a little bit more effort on D, and I think he will. Mike D'Antoni being the coach is going to unleash him offensively. I think it's really going to be crazy what James Harden does this year. And also James Harden, if he's going to hold on to this number 1 spot at the shooting guard position, honestly, I don't think he has much competition. But if he's going to hold on to this spot, let's say somebody else comes in the league and becomes that guy, another Kobe or D-Wade, a generational guy at that 2-guard spot, James Harden got to step his leadership game up. His leadership sucked last year. There's no way you should be leading the league in scoring, getting the type of stats you get with the type of ability that James Harden has, and not be able to take your team anywhere, not be able to do something with your team in that season that they had last year. That's unacceptable for a guy that's number 1 in his position, that the team can't even make the playoffs. So maybe it's wrong for me to put him number 1. But how is that? How is that possible, James Harden? You got an all-star and Dwight Howard on your team, and you can't even seem to make it work with Dwight Howard. I mean, he alienated that man. And they didn't replace Dwight Howard with nobody better than Dwight Howard. So I think overall the team got kind of worse skill-wise if you go player by player because of James Harden. James Harden's inability to mesh with a guy. Dwight Howard better than everybody else on Houston's team besides James Harden still this year. He's better than everybody else they got. So they traded Dwight Howard for worse players, but I think they can be a better team because number 1, James Harden be more of a leader. Number 2, D'Antoni's going to put the ball in Harden's hands, which he should do, and that's going to open up the whole team just because of changing the way they do their system, but not because of a talent increase. They didn't increase their talent. The talent got worse, in my opinion. But James Harden is the number 1 shooting guard in the league. Number 2, Klay Thompson, Golden State Warriors. Now here's the thing with Klay Thompson is I'm not sure how great Klay Thompson is because Klay Thompson has not been the number 1 guy on his team yet. But Klay Thompson, save for Steph Curry, broke the record for making threes in the season. If it wasn't for his own teammate, he would have had a record. The guy can obviously get you 20 points per game. He had a huge, that game 6 in the Western Conference Finals when they sent the series back to Golden State against OKC. That was huge. Klay Thompson he's a great defender. He can guard 1s and he can guard 2s. He got a little bit of a post-up game. His handle was not that great, but it's still, that would be kind of nitpicking because the guy can shoot the lights out better than anybody in basketball, and all of basketball, save for his own teammate, Steph Curry. So Klay Thompson is number 2. Number 3, Jimmy Butler, Chicago Bulls. And Jimmy Butler is the same question mark for all 3 of these guys. James Harden, Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler. How much of a leader is each one of these guys? I don't know if we're ever going to find out how much of a leader Klay Thompson is. I think him and Steph Curry should be on the same team for their entire careers. I don't know why either one of them would not be on this team. They almost traded Klay for Kevin Love. Remember that? That didn't happen, luckily. So I don't know if we'll ever find out with Klay Thompson. Because even if, let's say, Steph Curry gets injured right now, Kevin Durant becomes the best player on the team. So it still wouldn't be Klay Thompson's chance to lead and be the guy. So I don't know if we'll ever find out with him. James Harden, I think we saw last year, and the year before, and the year before. But we're going to find out even more this year with James Harden. How much can he lead? And Jimmy Butler. Last year, he wanted to become the leader of that team. And I think he was in a power struggle with Mr. Derrick Rose, which obviously Jimmy Butler won because Derrick Rose is gone and Jimmy Butler's still on the team. But now they added Rajon Rondo and Dwayne Wade, who are both, I think it's safe to say they're both past their prime levels. And they both have come out publicly and said, this is Jimmy Butler's team. So what is Jimmy Butler going to do? Can Jimmy Butler lead this team? I think the Bulls can make the playoffs, but is Jimmy Butler a leader on this team? I don't know. And Jimmy Butler, I think just skill-wise, he just got to increase his skill. He got to be able to hit that 3-point shot, I think. If he wants to move up here, if he want to move up to number 2 or number 1, he got to be able to knock down that 3-point shot. And I think his scoring needs to go up a little bit. I'm not sure if it will this year with Rondo and Wade on the team, but his scoring will have to go up if he wants to move up in these rankings. But number 3 is not bad. Number 4, shooting guard in the NBA, DeMar DeRozan, Toronto Raptors. Now, DeRozan just got a huge contract extension. Him and Kyle Lowry led the Raptors to the Eastern Conference Finals. Here's the thing with DeRozan. How far is this team going? Like, the Raptors, where are they going from here? I mean, they finished second in the Eastern Conference, second during the season and in the playoffs, also the Cavs. They can't beat the Cavs with the team that they got. They can't go any further unless LeBron James gets injured. They can't go any further than they went this past season. So I don't know how we can move DeRozan up this list. I don't see, DeMar DeRozan by this point, I think he's pretty close to his prime area. I don't think how much better can he get? Let me ask that question. Those of you who are Raptors fans or DeRozan, how much better can he get? I mean, he likes to shoot the mid-range jump shot. He gets you 20-some points per game. The guy can play, but what else? What more can he do? What more can he bring to the table besides what he's brought so far? Same thing I said with Kyle Lowry. If they're your 2 best players and your 2 highest paid guys and you already lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, how can you get any better? What else are they going to add to that team? And just speaking specifically about DeRozan, what's he going to add to his game? Now you're the highest paid player on the team. I mean, if you're the highest paid player on the team, I think, my opinion is, you're going to be the highest paid player on the team. If I went in the gym and just watched the team practice, I should be able to tell by the end of the practice who the highest paid player is. Like, yo, that dude must be the highest paid player because it's clear. It's obvious. James Harden, I think it'd be obvious if I watched them. I think it'd be obvious if you watched Michael Jordan. It'd be obvious if you watched Kobe. It'd be obvious if you watched Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, or in their primes at least. Dwayne Wade in his prime, Kobe, of course, Shaq and Kobe together. I think it should be obvious. It should be obvious with DeMar DeRozan. I'm not sure it's obvious. But again, Raptors fans, DeRozan fans, let me know. Number 5, shooting guard in the NBA. Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade, number 5 shooting guard in the NBA. Now last year, remember we're going off of what I've seen last year and what I think is going to happen this year. Dwayne Wade was the leader on the Heat. They went to the playoffs. They won a playoff series. That matters. Now this year, who knows what Dwayne Wade's going to do playing with Jimmy Butler. They're both basically shooting guards, and Rondo. None of those 3 guys are great outside shooters, but I've heard Dwayne Wade's going to shoot more threes this year. We'll see. But Dwayne Wade took his team to the second round of the playoffs last year, which Jimmy Butler did not do. And it was only one step beneath what DeMar DeRozan did, was take his team to the third round. James Harden didn't do it. And Klay Thompson went to the finals, but he wasn't the guy. So Dwayne Wade gets credit for that. But I think Dwayne Wade is, he's slowly coming down. He finally played most of the games in the season last year. So that counts against him, that you don't know what you're going to get from Dwayne Wade in terms of how many games he's going to show up and play. And this year, we don't know what he's going to do with this new group in Chicago. Who knows what's going to happen with the Bulls. But I got to give it to Dwayne Wade as a number 5 shooting guard in the league. Now, honorable mentions. A couple guys honorable mention I'm going to bring up. Gordon Hayward, Utah Jazz. I'm bringing him up because he is the best player on the Jazz. They didn't make the playoffs last year, so there's no way he was getting into the top 5. And also, I don't think any serious playoff team, meaning a team that could actually come close to winning a playoff series, is going to have Gordon Hayward as their best player. I think he needs to be the second or third best player on the team that's going to actually do something. If he's the best player, your team ain't going to do much, in my opinion. Utah Jazz fans, Gordon Hayward fans, if I'm wrong, let me know. If you agree, let me know. Devin Booker, Phoenix Suns. Guy can put the ball in the damn basket. Man, he can put the ball in the basket. I didn't even know who he was. I just started seeing his stats. Like, who's this Booker kid? Keeps scoring 25, 30 points every game. And he's starting to do it already in the preseason this year. I think he'll continue to do it in the full season this year. As far as his overall, his leadership and all of that is not even come into question yet because he's so young. And that team is so young. That team don't even know what they are yet. But I had to mention Devin Booker because the guy can put the ball in the damn basket. And basketball is a game of putting the ball in the basket. That's what's called basketball. And the third guy, a guy who I think can move into the top 5 next year, depending on what he does this year, CJ McCollum of the Portland Trailblazers. He just got his big contract. Him and Damian Lillard, one of the best backcourts in the league. Good to see. I want to see them go up against that Golden State backcourt as many times as possible. That would be fun to watch. But I think CJ can definitely move into this top 5. He can take somebody's spot. But Portland got to win some games. CJ got to make sure he's a clear best or second best player on the floor for Portland every game this season, because he getting paid to be that. And if he's gonna be in the top 5, they gotta be clear. He's the best or second best player on that court, because Damian Lillard's the man there, so he should be no less than the second guy, the man next to the man, CJ McCollum this year. So that's my 2 guard rankings. Let me say that again: James Harden number 1, Klay Thompson number 2, Jimmy Butler number 3, DeMar DeRozan number 4, D Wade number 5. Honorable mention: Gordon Hayward, Devin Booker, CJ McCollum. Did I miss somebody? Is the order incorrect? Who do you think should have been in what spot? Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Questions, comments, concerns, praise, criticism, leave them down there in the comments. Next, small forwards. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.